ended with the stored procedure. Okay, so why do we need to create a stored procedure? For reusable purpose. Once you create it, you can use it as many times as you want it, right? Create once and call it or use it many times. Okay, so in this case I created a stored procedure. Let me just move this up so that it all looks same. Okay, so I created a stored procedure, and then here I just pass the value here, right? I just pass the two values here. So the 20 and manager, the 20 will get copied to this variable, and this manager will get copied to this one, right? So the at JB1 is our input parameter. At depart number 1 is also an input parameter. So when you execute the stored procedure depart cell, see, once you create a stored procedure, that is not, so your job is not going to end. You need to use it. How do I use it? By executing the stored procedure, you can use it. So you need to use this command, execute depart cell. What is this? Depart cell is nothing but your stored procedure name. Followed by this, we need to pass the values to these two input parameters. So here, ideally it should be like this. Okay, that JB1. So the 20 will get copied to add depart number 1 variable parameter, input parameter, and the manager will get copied to add JB1. So these two values will get passed down here, add depart number 1 and job equal to add JB1. One second, I just here at JB1. Okay, you need to specify like this, at JB1. Okay, and here I am using group by, nothing else here, right? Okay, now let us go and execute this and create this stored procedure. The stored procedure was already created. Incorrect syntax near manager. So what is the problem? Yeah, here I think I should use comma here. Everything else is correct, right? The syntax, everything is correct. One second. At JB1, job at JB1. Okay, so the stored procedure, once again, let me just create it one more time. You create commands completed successfully, execute depart cell and manager. You don't have to specify comma here. Invalid object name emp. Okay, so we need to, the first step is you need to select the database, right? So these are available under use sales. Use sales is the database. That is where the emp table and all is there. Execute it. So when you click on execute, it will get executed. Now the database got selected. In this database, we are going to create this one, right? So if I do this one, it will create. But if you select it everything from the top, right, the procedure will get created. So you don't have to do it, redo it everything from the beginning. Okay, already exists. So let it be there and execute. When I do this one, let's see what happens. The function has too many arguments specified. Okay, and here depart cell comma manager, right? So this is the one, the incorrect syntax near manager. Why it shows incorrect syntax near manager? Transaction rollback. Okay, I just execute. Let us see what happens if I execute it. Depart number 20. Depart number got selected 20, and the corresponding value here, right? So here what we're doing, sum of cell, that one is getting supplied here, and job at JB1, and at JB1 job is equal to JB1, right? So here in this case, so here I'm just thinking, okay, here what problem we have. So usually in all the other programming, if you specify this is sufficient. Let me just recheck the syntax here. See, everything is available in the net. Setting up multiple parameters is correct only, right? Everything is correct. Execute this one. This stores the city equal to at New York. Here, this is another way of passing the value. Okay. Here you are taking the at city equal to New York, or else you can directly specify that. And here, if I want to specify more than one, execute at city, your store at, you can specify the recording is going on, right? So recording is going on. Where is that? Let me just see. Recording is going on. Okay. So this is how, right? So you can specify this, or you can directly specify the variable, something like that. Okay. So if you want to specify execute more than variable, you need to specify explicitly. Ideally, in other languages, right, you don't have to specify explicitly, but in SQL Server, it is a little bit different. Okay. So what we will do is, let us go by is syntax. Okay. The depart cell at depart number at the rate depart number equal to 20, comma at the rate JB1 is equivalent to manager. Okay. Depart cell has too many arguments specified. So one second, let me just clear all these things. Depart number, we have two arguments, we specify two input parameters. These are called your input parameters. We pass two input parameters, right? So at job at JB1, just give me a second, let me just check it. Here JB1, right? It's all correct. And comma execute dbo at this is my stored procedure, and the first variable, first parameter I am assigning the depart number 1 at JB1 equal to manager. Okay, here I just let me see if it is a double quote or single quote here. Often I forget this one. Yeah, it's a single quote only. If you specify double quote, it is not getting highlighted, then something wrong there. And procedure function depart has too many arguments specified. Batch start line 170. Okay, it is getting, why it is executing this one? It is not supposed to, right? Let me do one thing. Depart cell has too many arguments specified. Okay, let me do one thing. I just pass this one alone. Is not a parameter for, okay, it is not considering at JB1 as a parameter. Okay, it is not considering that one as a parameter. So usually, right, the syntax is something like this. I just write the syntax now. You can have input and output parameters. You can have more than one parameter. You are supposed to have more than one parameter. Okay, here, yeah, obviously it should work. Here in this case, salary. Okay, what this is where curtain, right? So where curtain. One second, just let me follow my own style. It's not my own style. In some projects we use this formatting. Okay, instead of defining the input parameter followed by the stored procedure, we type it in the subsequent lines for readability purpose. So here I just say, I don't want to assign anything here, null. Okay, and as begin, select, okay, where depart number equal to department, and this one, and job equal to at JB1 group by depart number end. Okay, what I am going to do is I just drop the existing stored procedure because it's already existing. It will get confused. Fine. And when I give this one, because which was not depart number 1, so depart number 1, it is asking for the first input parameters value. You need to specify in the proper order. This is very important. That's the reason why I did it intentionally by specifying the second parameter value by excluding the first one. Now it is working fine, right? So you need to format it correctly. So initially assign null, that's why it caused some issues. Now for depart number 20 and what is the manager, and what I will do is for you people to understand, and here I am going to type the job also. Okay, so I'm going to drop this one again. So here I am going to drop this, and I just defined it like this. Job is invalid in okay, because in the group by we are doing group by, isn't it? So we are doing group by, that is the reason why it causes that confusion. Anyhow, let it be there. Okay, and see why I was getting that error, isn't it? Right? Do you understand? So in the group by, whatever the column you use it, you have to remember this point very well. Okay, the group by, whatever you use it, that column should come here. Okay, if you use sum and followed by this, you can specify the aggregation function like sum function, average function, minimum function, max function. Okay, but you are not supposed to use a column which is not part of your group by. Okay, that is the reason why it was throwing an error. So unmindfully I did it. So already it is existing it. I'm going to drop it and I'm going to recreate it one more time to overcome the confusions. Yes, and next I'm going to say the job 1 equal to manager, right? So and job 1. So for manager, the depart number 20, in department term 20, what is the total salary drawn in the department number 20 for managers. Okay, so that is what is 2975. Okay, so this is how you can pass more than one parameter. Anyhow, I'm going to update this with more clarity. So here I'm going to put the syntax, everything, so that when you open the script you should be able to understand everything. The stored procedure can have 0 or more input parameters. Stored procedure can have 0 or more input and output parameters. So far we discussed about input parameters only. I will explain you what is output parameter. A stored procedure can have a maximum of I guess 200 parameters. This is the maximum number of parameters you can do, right? So they specify. You cannot specify anything beyond this. The complex project, right? So you might need more parameters, but still 2100 and more you will not be using it. So you can specify, right? You can specify default value for the parameters. See, earlier I mentioned about the default parameters as null, right? So instead of passing this one here, right, the manager here, you can specify directly, JB1 is equivalent to manager. So this is what I meant about it. Okay, here also you can specify it. Okay, so in that case you don't have to, when you execute it, you don't have to specify this one. Okay, you need to specify execute stored procedure name and then the input parameter, first input parameter. You need to specify it in the proper order. At this moment, let us forget this. When you execute this, how you need to pass the parameter, how many you need to pass the values to the parameters in the proper order. First you need to pass the value to the depart number and then you need to pass it to JB1. If I remove this, if I don't pass any value for the first input parameter, by default the SQL server will consider whatever the value that you pass it that is going to get passed to the first input parameter. Instead of passing the manager to dot at JB1, it will get passed here, and since depart number is integer data type, it throws an error, right? You need to pass the values in this order: first depart number 1 and then manager. Got it? So but you can specify, instead of this you can specify the manager directly here at JB1 is equivalent to manager. This is what I meant about manager. Sorry, you can specify a default value for the parameters. So this is the default value. By default you search only the manager, okay? And you can also override by specifying some other thing here, okay? And if you specify default and if you specify something else here, it will go and fetch some other thing. For example, select star from EMP. Here manager job, right? So manager and depart number 20, and we have manager, only one guy is there, right? Yeah, 2975. That is why it was showing 2975. That is what we checked it. And now the situation is we want to check, okay, here instead of giving manager, in depart number 20 we have someone else like analyst, yeah, we will specify analyst. What is the total salary for analyst? So here 3000 in depart number 20. Watch carefully here, okay? So this is the depart number 20, and for analyst, that is what we are doing it, right? We are passing analyst job. For analyst, those belong to depart number 20. So this guy also belong to depart number 20. So 3000 plus 3000, 6000 it should come. If I execute this stored procedure, it should give me the value as 6000. There is already, okay. So what I do is I just I don't have to let me just drop it because I made changes. Here I assign the default value to at JB1 input parameter as manager. I just execute this. Now it got created it. When I execute, it should show 6000. Correctly it shows, right? Very good. So for analyst, the employees with analyst designation in the depart number 20, what is the total salary they are getting it? Though I assign the default value for the input parameter at JB1 as manager, still you can override this. You can modify the manager with analyst. That is what I meant here. So you can override by explicitly passing the value to the parameter, using execute command. So this one will be modified and it will be considered as a analyst. Analyst will get copied into this variable, which is nothing but your input parameter, okay? So the depart number 1 and add JB1, these two are called your input parameter. Remember this. A stored procedure can have input parameter. It can also have an output parameter. It can also have an output parameter. So how do I specify an output parameter? For example, I'm going to create another stored procedure to demonstrate that, okay? So let me just copy this in the interest of time, and I just come down here. Update depart salary, something like that. Same thing, I'm going to use it, and here I'm going to say we are going to modify the or changing the salary for the employees. Let's assume that the employees are now getting increment, right? So at update set, now what we need to do is set salary, SAL column, the column name is salary is equivalent to at sal, something like that, okay? And let's say EMP number, EMPNO. So EMPNO is equal to, for a specific employee, whichever employees you want to increase the salary or modify the salary, you can pass this value in the execute, right? How do I execute this stored procedure? Let me just show you first. I just used update thing here, and here what add cell at AMP number. Here the input parameter, we need to change the name at cell, and here at EMP number. Okay, EMP number is also int, and update EMP, fine, everything is fine. And here execute. So now we create the stored procedure. How do I use that? How do I call the stored procedure? Using execute command. Apt depart cell, this is my stored procedure name, and the first argument at cell is equivalent to, let's say, 5000, comma, at EMP_NO is equivalent to, so what are the employees are there? Let me just here at cell 5000, what we will do is employee number, we will say 7369. Let's assume that for him we are going to 7369. We are going to increase the salary like this. So this is the common thing. Now our intention is we want to see, there are, one second, this is what I was trying to say. Either you can do it this way, or you don't have to specify this one first of all. But last time we got some confusion with that. Look here, so the stored procedure got created, right? So now I just go and pass this one. Could not find stored procedure. Okay, I did not create it. Okay, I did not execute this one. Incorrect syntax near the keyword and set cell. Oh, sorry. Set cell, comma, the syntax, comma, where. Sorry, here set cell where. You remember, for update the syntax is different. So which table you want to make change, you need to specify. In our case, we want to make changes to the employee table, and which column you want to update it, salary column, to which employee you want to do it, right? So that is what we are doing it. So update set where. So in the where class we specify the condition. We specify for which employee I want to modify the salary in the employee table. Right, so this is the syntax, and I just now, okay, now I created it, and it was, syntax error, right? It was not created. Whenever you get syntax error, then the stored procedure was not created. So must declare scalar value at EMP_NO. Oh, here NO. So look here, I did not specify the correct. Here I use EMP_O, and here I EMP_NO, right? So whatever this input variable you specify, the same thing should be there here. In other words, right, whatever the input parameter value that you specified here, input parameter name, okay, the same name you need to specify it here. So now I just go and create it. It got created successfully. So let us try this approach. It is working perfectly. Either, see, it is not mandatory. You are supposed to use the parameter name, at sal equal to 5000, at EMP_NO equal to 7000, like that. So directly you can specify this. If you specify like this, the first value will get assigned to at sal automatically, and second value will get assigned to EMP_NO. Supposing you want to change the order. No, I want to first pass this one. Yeah, first I want to pass the EMP number, or if you want to pass it in any order, right? In that case, you need to specify explicitly the parameter name here. See here, the 5000 first argument, the first value should be the salary, and second one should be the employee number. Is there any way, can I change the order? Can I put 7369 and 5000? You can do it, but if you do it like this, here 7369 first and then 5000, if you put it here, the 7369 will go to salary, and the 5000 will go to EMPNO. Are you all listening or not? That is the issue will happen. But I should be given a liberty to pass the values in any order, right? Instead of passing the same order, right? I should be given the liberty to do it. So in that case, what to do is, yeah, you can change the order, but make sure that you are specifying the input parameter. So the employee num at AMPNO pass this value, at salary you pass this 5000. So in that case, what will happen? This 5000 will get copied here. This 7369 will get passed to this EMPNO, and this 5000 will get substituted here, and EMP number, so this value, right, the EMP number is 7369 will get copied here. Got it? So this is another way of executing it. Look here, it is working fine, right? So you can use both approach. Okay, the other approach is the common approach. So 3 different options are there while executing the stored procedure. Don't forget this. You can specify explicitly the proper order. Okay, so whatever the I just show you. So in this case, salary and employee number, these are called input parameters. I need to pass the values to these 2 input parameters. But when you execute this stored procedure, first you need to specify the value for this parameter, and then the second value you need to specify for this one. Yes, that is what we have mentioned it here, right? But here it is time consuming job. In this case, we have only 2 input parameter. Now the question is, do I need to specify the input parameter, and then do I need to specify is there any way if I can specify the values directly? Yes, you can do it directly like this. But this is always safe, okay, even if it takes a little more time, but it is safe, right? You are very much sure, okay, I am passing 5000 to salary input parameter and passing the 7369 to EMPNO, right? So this is a best practice. But if you think, right, I have 2 input parameters are there. So in that case, I know I don't want to specify the input parameter name here. You can directly pass it like this. The another approach is, this is the one. So do I have to specify always the salary as the, do I have to specify the first value for salary and second value for EMP number always? No, you can change the order also. But when you change the order, this is mandatory. You need to specify the input parameter. Otherwise, how will it know, right? So 7369 has to go to EMPNO, 500 has to go to salary. Hope all of you are able to understand very clearly. This is very much important. And also remember this, the stored procedure parameter must start with a at sign. Okay, at sign. I just put that one also here. All the rules I'll just put it here. You remember this. See, attending the interview, you don't have to know everything, but when you get a job, you should be able to do it, right? You should be knowing these basic things. The stored procedure parameter names must start with at. Okay, and the okay, good. So this is, if you remember this much, that is more than sufficient. Okay, and the next one is the storage procedure can have 0 or more input and output parameters. See, it is not necessary you have to specify the input parameters. These 2 are called your input parameters. Without passing the input parameter, also you can create the stored procedure. A stored procedure in any RDBMS need not to return any value. But in our case, we mentioned the input parameter. Let's see if I want to return some value, right? So I wanted to return some value from the stored procedure, right? So in that case, the output parameters, there is something called output parameters comes into picture. So remember that there are input and output parameters are also there. right? So these are the properties of stored procedure. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one, depart cell, and here what I'm going to do is I just copy paste the same thing in the interest of time, and here I'm going to do this one. Okay, so here I specify output parameter, input and output parameter. Okay, input and output parameter. So how to define input and output parameter? So here I say the add cell int, and I'm going to say emp number. Int I want to return the employee number or something like that. Output, and here I just select at emp envo is equivalent to emp envo from emp, where the emp envo is equivalent to at emp envo end. The body of your stored procedure should start with begin and end. That is what we discussed in the first session. So in this case, the emp envo is the output parameter. Okay, let us see how it works with errors. 1 second, what was the error? So the object name update cell in the okay. So it's already there, right? So here what we do is view updated cell, something like that, because this name already we created it, right? So whenever you create a new procedure, you need to give the different name for the stored procedure, right? So it got created, and next one is execute. Now I want to execute the store. What is my stored procedure name? View update cell at emp envo is equivalent to comma update cell. Here I've used cell, and okay, here I need to use emp number. emp envo only is there, right? So what? Okay, let me do one thing. I just say job here, job where care of, let's say 15, I say comma emp envo is int, and output here I say I want to return the job. Okay, instead of this one I say job at job where emp number is equal to at emp number. So now I already created the stored procedure. If I execute this, it will throw an error. It says it's already there. So we made changes to the stored procedure. How to modify a stored procedure? Using alter. Alter procedure name. Look here. So all the changes whatever we made it, based on which the stored procedure got created. So now I want to execute this stored procedure. Emp number is equivalent to, let me just check the employee number, 7369. Let's take 7369 and comma the job at job output, return the value of the job from this one. Okay, let's see what happens here. So you can specify both the input as well as must declare the scalar variable at job. Yeah, it's already we created, right? At job Add job, I already create add job is equal to job from emp add job where car of 15 emp number int this is the one, right? Sorry, I made a mistake here. This is the one supposed to be output, right? Must pass parameter name to and subsequent at name value after the name has been used. Okay, so here, so stored procedure emp number. Okay, the must pass parameter number 2. What mistake I made it here? I know I intentionally I did this. What is the mistake I did it here? The first one is job and second one is emp number, but I was trying to pass this value, right? So in this case, let us follow this one properly. Depart number and let me just do one thing one more time. I'll create it. Incorrect syntax near add job where care of 15 okay, where care of 15 output, right? It's correct only. See, comma here, comma is not required, right? I just copy pasted it. I did not put the comma in the proper place. Look here, these kind of small mistakes will bog you down. Must declare the scalar variable add job output, right? So the manager id sorry, in this case the job, right? So job equal to add job. The output parameter is the add job. It has to return the job here, okay? And but here it shows something different. emp number 7369 at what is this job supposed to be, but here we are selecting job, right? It is not coming here. Yeah, okay, let me just do one thing. Print add job. It is not showing anything. It is not returning any value here. Stored procedure name at the emp number, the first argument, and second parameter. So we call this also argument, okay? Parameter. Don't get confused. We say first argument, second argument, or we can say input parameter, second input parameter. And in this case, this is the output parameter. And for this output parameter, it is not returning any value. View depart cell and at the emp number equal to 7369 at job as varchar. This is an important step. You need to remember it, okay? When it comes to this one, fy must pass parameter number 2 and subsequent parameters at name value after the form has been. All subsequent parameters must be passed in name equal to value, okay? Name equal to value. I already created the stored procedure and tested it, but somehow that script I kept it somewhere, and here let me just test it or recheck it. 1 second, I just want to copy paste this one. Create function name, I say get emp info. I'm not going to specify any parameters, okay? And returns table. I want to return the table as return. Simply I'm going to return the table select star from emp. So my function got created. So this is the one got created. How do I call this function? Creating the stored procedure is not sufficient. You need to use the procedure, and also you should know how to use the function which you created. We created a function by the name of getInfo. How do I call this function? Select star from. We call the function using the SQL query itself. Select statement emp info. Press F5. That's it. We are all set. This is how we are supposed to create a function. Okay, so hope you understood, right? So how to create a function, and we will create some other, for example, I just want to create, this is my table function, and do I have to use always SQL statement? Not necessarily you have to use always the SQL statement. You can use something else. For example, I want to find out the maximum value for any given values. Okay, let's say I just give here, okay, returns, I want to return the integer value. So as begin, you need to specify begin here, because I need to write some statement, and here I'm going to say declare at a is int and b is int. I'm going to pass c values, 3 values. Here itself I say 10, here I say 5, and here I'm going to say 20. So by looking at this, we can say the maximum value is 50. But programmatically, how do we do that, right? So this is how we do it. So for example, if I'm going to use the if condition, if at a is greater than at c, okay, then you set the at so I'm going to say at a is equivalent to at b. Okay, or else, see, in our case the condition fails, right? So the a is 10 is not greater than 20, so hence the control will come to else. The else, what I'm going to do is I just simply, so you can use whatever logic you want it, okay, just for you to specify. So in my case, I'm going to overwrite the value of my the a's value. So you just put okay, here what I do is a is greater than c, it is not, and set else the condition will come here at c. I'm going to say c here. I want to return at a, and I'm going to say I need to specify end without fail, because whenever you start with begin, you need to end. So this is your body of your function. Okay, lot of error. Okay, line 6, okay, here incorrect syntax at b. Okay, at b comma and declare okay, here a lot of int, right? So okay, the comma is missing here. Look here, a simple comma caused some problem, right? I did not specify the comma after these variables, right? So once you declare the variable, for each variable you need to separate the other variable, one variable to other variable, you need to specify comma here. So after this variable we did not define anything, hence comma is not required, right? So the next one is the if statement. If a is greater than c, then assign the value. So whatever, you can write your own logic here. So in my case, what I'm doing is simply copy the value 5 to a. So a will become now 5. Or else Now replace the value a by 20 at C. Okay, see, return at A. Now you tell me what value is stored in A. So now we are able to create this function successfully. How do we execute this function? Select. Here execute command is not required. Execute is only for stored procedure. To execute a stored procedure, you need to specify execute. To call a function, this is the function we created it, find max as some number, max value. This is my own function, find max, right? Select find max. Sometimes you may have to specify DBO, database owner, or something like that. Look here, you need to prefix your thing with DBO, okay, database owner, something like that, okay, sometimes, okay. So DBO dot find max. So now you understood how to create a function. You can create, you can return a table itself using a table function. In this case, we are directly returning a table, okay. And then in this case, we are not at all using any tables. We are simply playing around with some, assigning the values, right? So assign the 20 to A. If the A is not greater than C, right? So the control comes here and assign the value and return the value, right? So the return the value is 20. Obviously the 20 got assigned to RTA. Here what is happening? The 20 is getting assigned to this variable, hence it is returning the value. If you want to return this value, final result, this is my final result, I want to see the final result, fine. So now I just call this function. How do I, creating the function is not, you need to call, right? So dbo dot find max. The find max is the function name as max value. So we need to give some meaningful name for the column name here, and this is maximum, it returns the, so in simple term, this one returned the value of my variable A. So A is 20 here, okay. Similarly, right, you can, I will give you some assignments for creating a function and stored procedure. You start play around with. I'll just give you the simple one. Okay, now the question is, what is the difference between stored procedure and function? Difference between stored procedure and function. What are the difference between these two? A function must return always a value, okay. You don't have to specify any input parameter. Look here, we did not specify any input parameter, right? So followed, this is my function name, followed by this, within this parenthesis I should have specified some input parameter. I did not specify anything, need not specify any input parameter, but the function has to return a value. So that's why we use something called return statement. The return statement has to return some value, right? Without returning any value, you cannot execute a function. A function must always return value, whereas a procedure, a stored procedure, may or may not return a value. So not necessarily it has to return a value. In order to return a value, you need to use output parameter. I'll check the syntax and probably I will check it out in the, I'll let you know in the upcoming weekend session, okay. Right, so the function, other difference, the function works only with input parameter, whereas in the case of procedure, you can use both the input and procedure, you can use both input as well as the output parameter. So in this case, In the case of function, we can call functions within a SQL statement, right? Can I call a stored procedure in SQL statement? It is not possible. We cannot use procedures within a SQL statement. I want you all to practice, and I'll give you some simple assignments. Start with that, create the function and source procedure, and let me know what is your understanding. Okay, and these are the difference. If you remember it, right, that is more than sufficient. And next what we will do is we'll jump into Power BI. Okay, and before that, I just want to tell you the assignment which I gave it to you all. The Adventure Works LT Lightweight 2019. Okay, this database has less number of tables compared to the other databases. That's why I suggested you all to start download and install this one. I don't know how many of you have done this, but anyhow, I did not explain you how to download this one. You just go here, go to Google, download Adventure Works LT. Simply type LT. That's it. The first one, if you click on it, it will take you to the Microsoft Documents site, and if you scroll down, the earlier suggested you to download these two files. Now you need to download this one to install the Adventure Works Lightweight database. Download this one. It will take some time. Once, see, it's pretty faster. As the name says, right, it's a lightweight, hence it took very less time to download it. So here what I do is I just right click it and copy it and go to my program files and Microsoft SQL Server, SQL Express, MS SQL, and backup. That's it. You put it here, copy paste it, yeah, Control V. Okay, I just copied and I paste it here, and go back to your this thing and simply right click on it, restore database. Same as the same procedure, similar to the other Adventure Works how we installed, right? So click on add. When you click on add, it will take you to that backup location. Here LT, right? This is the one. Okay, click on OK. It will create. That's it. And click on OK. That's it. It will create Adventure Works LT 209. Is that much simple. But here you can see hardly few tables are there. Right? So you can play around with these tables by executing the queries or the lab exercise which I shared. Right? You can work on it. What I do is in today's session script also I'll upload it, and this one lab 01, all these labs, right, all these lab exercise you can try with this database, the one you install it, right, Adventure Works LT 209. So because to work on those PDF files labs you require these tables. That's it. So here, he has given retrieve customer name data, retrieve customer details, right? So challenge 2. Okay, sales LT has given the table now. So retrieve a list of sales order revisions, all the things he has given here. And there are some places he mentioned the update statement, all the things. Just give it a try. And one more thing is, yeah, you download this one, mod01 demos.zip. If you click on this, the demos will be there. Okay, these are pretty much simple. Before you try everything, right, you try this one. This is, everything is readily available. Also look here, all the tables are, end with lt, lightweight. Okay, sales lt dot product sales. So you execute each and every query peacefully during weekdays, right, or whenever you have free time, and understand what each query, the behavior of each query. Okay, this query will basically retrieve the values for these three columns. And here what happens, you just check this one, the plus sign is it will combine these two columns together, but in between it will put colon. Okay, here it put comma. Okay, so try all these queries. It is pretty much simple. And how do I convert the data type? And see data type. Okay, cost. Okay, and how do I convert the data type? Product ID as varchar of 5. Type cost. Costing means, change the data type. Okay, from one data type to another data type. Okay, varchar 5. You convert the product as varchar 5, something like that. Okay, the sell start date, convert. Try all these things. Okay, and nulls and expressions also there. Null if, lot of functions are there. You just give it a try. So it will help you to master the SQL queries. But remember that, practicing, these zip files alone is not sufficient. Beyond that, the performance tuning and many other things are there. Okay, but if you master this, right, that is, you can say you are at the intermediate level. Okay, you are at the intermediate level. All these things you give it a try. First you try mod 01, mod 02 up to mod 11, and then you go to the lab 01. Lab 01, they have given the problem statement, and they have given you some ints also. With that you try to solve this one, right? So this is the link. I just share it once again in the chat window to you all. Please copy paste this into your laptop, or store it in your mobile also, right? Simply just select this and put it in your WhatsApp. See, I just use WhatsApp in my laptop itself. Look here, so web.whatsapp.com. If you go here itself, we can use it. Just simply paste it here. That is enough. So okay, so now we are sort of completed the SQL, TSQL, transact SQL query. And apart from this, for I think in the mod 01 itself, we have some assignments for stored function, the function and procedures. You try that one also. In case of any questions, you get back to me. But let's not get stuck up with only the SQL part now. Let us jump into Power BI, and then whenever time permits, you start practice it side by side, the SQL as well as the Power BI part. Okay, so what I would suggest, right, okay, I just saved